Hey everyone, and welcome back. Or if this is your first sit here at the table, welcome. Thanks for joining us as we talk about all things nerdy and gaming. I'm Alex,
I'm Patrick.
I'm Paul.
and for today's topic, Paul brought something here to the table. What do you lose by not playing on hard mode? But before we get into that, let's catch up. So I'll go ahead and start because now
I'm afraid of where this is going.
we are an
I do
Assassin's
not
Creed
like
channel.
this. I hate this.
Mhm. Anyone want to guess the game I've been playing this week?
Barbie Horse Adventure.
I've been playing Assassin's Creed. That's right.
Oh, Barbie Horse
ladies and
Adventure, you mean?
gentlemen. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the 10th Circle of Hell, where we play Assassin's Creed all day, every day.
Yep.
Thank you for joining.
Mhm.
I appreciate it. So yeah,
I do not like it. What? So okay, what's at least kept you there? We're not going to talk about this very long, but what keeps you in your millionth hour of the game?
I'm actually surprised you're entertaining it. I wasn't.
Yeah,
I wasn't
me
going to
too.
entertain myself.
I just like in a sentence. That's it.
In one sentence, there's a lot of stuff to do. There's a lot of DLC, and I actually really enjoy. I really enjoy the game.
Okay,
it's fun, but that's it. So, moving on. That's all I've really played this week. I tried to play some Resident Evil 8 Village because I actually never beat that game.
Oh, really? I thought you did. Okay. Fair enough.
No, I got stuck. So I tried to play it. I put it on just. We can save this for later. Yeah.
You mean foreshadowing?
I got foreshadowing. I got stuck. So
okay.
Yeah. But so I tried to play some of that. Speaking on that, some things that I'm excited for. Resident Evil Village has a expansion coming out on the 28th called the Winter's Expansion. And it's going to feature a third-person mode and then a DLC called Shadows of Rose. So just a little bit of background. So Resident Evil 8, if you remember Resident Evil 7, so Resident Evil 8, basically you're playing as that same character, the same guy. You save the girlfriend. She's back with you. You guys have a daughter now. All of a sudden, military comes in, kills the girlfriend, takes the daughter, kind of like leaves you for dead. So that daughter's
name just kill the girlfriend, like the whole story arc of the game before.
She was like possessed. She wasn't dead though.
No, but like you saved her. Still, like that was the whole thing of the. And so in like the first frame of this new DLC, they just shoot her.
No, the game, not the DLC, the game.
Oh my god!
So Resident Evil 7, you save the girlfriend. Beginning of Resident Evil 8, she dies. She gets shot.
I hate that. I can't express how much I hate that.
Yeah. So new DLC is coming out. I'm pretty excited for it. I really want to go back and try to get through Resident Evil, get through my stuck part. Scorn just came out on the 14th.
What is Scorn?
It is a first-person survival horror shooter. If I could compare it to anything, it's a scarier Doom.
Okay. Doom's kind of scary, but all right.
That's an interesting take.
It looks like Doom. It has the gore of Doom from what I've seen in the trailers. And it just looks scarier. It looks like a little bit more creepy. In Doom, you're running around, you're running and gunning. This seems like you're doing the same thing. I think Doom 3 was the only one that was actually like kind of scary, but all the other ones are running and gunning. Sure, there's like monsters and stuff, but it's not really scary.
I don't know. If you had like one of those old ass computers and a floppy disk and you're playing Doom, I think that was probably one of the scariest things that you could play at the time.
Floppy disks are terrifying.
They are. You mean the save icon?
I will say for Scorn, because earlier in the week I was just doing some work, right? Like knocking out some homework and stuff with YouTube on the background. I ended up getting an autoplay of someone playing that, and it sucked me in. So I watched them go through it. I'm not going to go into it because I know you're excited for it, but I am interested to see your takes.
Okay. Yeah, I will report back next week with my takes because I just downloaded it.
Okay.
It's free on Game Pass, so.
The only thing scarier is you coming back with more fucking Assassin's Creed.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 10th Circle of Hell.
Yeah, for real.
Apparently, it's made of assassins.
The other game that comes out on the 18th here is Ghostbusters: Spirit Unleashed, and it looks really cool.
Oh,
okay. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it looks like Dead by Daylight. It's like a 4v1 kind of thing.
Okay.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
But I actually think I've seen something on that. Yeah.
So like somebody plays the ghost and the other people are the busters?
Yes. Yeah. And I guess as the ghost, I think if I remember what I was looking at right, is like your objective is to like scare people, and that's how you like win. It's very friendly in that regard. Like new player friendly. And it also has it doesn't have a single player mode, but they will put AIs on. So
I just thought you meant like friendly in general. It's not like a ghost killing people. It's just like, I've mildly inconvenienced your day.
I'm mildly inconveniencing you.
Ooh, taxes. What is it from SpongeBob? It's like, Santa Claus, Patrick, stop it.
You're scaring him.
You're scaring him. Yeah. I mean, that's cool. It's probably a more, friendly entrance to the genre.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't have a single player mode, but they will put AIs in, right?
Sure.
To not only fill a game, but it sounds like to do a single player type experience as well. The only other game that I want to talk about, and then I will pass it over, is the new Tales from the Borderlands, which comes out on the 21st. Very excited to play that.
Same.
If you guys play Tales from the Borderlands, it's very similar in that regard, where it's like Telltale styled, except it's not being developed by Telltale. It's being developed by Gearbox.
Now, do they have any indication where the story is being picked up from?
I haven't been able to tell so far.
Okay.
I might have missed something, but not a clue.
Yeah, no worries. I was just curious.
So yeah. But that's all I've got. What do you have for us, Paul?
I've actually gotten to play a few things. Mostly, we're going back to hell. I did play a good chunk of Assassin's Creed.
Fucking swear to God.
I know.
But and Circle of Hell, ladies and gentlemen.
Valhalla?
10.5.
Valhalla, yeah. I got him into
Valhalla.
it.
Yeah, he did.
Damn it.
But
I'm not
the one I want to talk about. One of
us.
One of us.
One of us.
No.
Yeah. But what I do want to talk about that, Alex, you and I actually played on a live stream earlier in the week was The Quarry.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. I did enjoy the walking simulator that it was, and I don't mean that to say, oh, it's not great. The co-op in that game is trash.
Yeah, so that's been the biggest complaint about it, right? Every review I've read.
That's co-op?
Not really.
I don't know. I wouldn't call it that.
Is it like the Mario Galaxy co-op where like you just hook up a second like remote and you're just collecting star bits?
Worse.
It's one step above that.
Oh, really?
Worse than that. Okay. So here's what Paul was able to do, right? Because at first we were like, oh, maybe this is Paul's character. Maybe this is. The host of the game is the only person that gets to walk around and interact with the world. The rest of the people get to vote on what decisions to make to alter the story. And because I don't know if it works. I don't know how it works exactly, but because it was just Paul and I, tiebreaker goes to host. So anytime Paul disagreed with me, I got to just choose what I wanted to do anyways. So I tried to be nice.
Funny.
I was nice. I tried to come to a rash decision or a rational decision with Paul each time. Mm-hmm. I tried to make it a more cooperative experience because I felt bad for him. But everything I've read said that the co-op is trash, but the story is amazing. So I'm looking forward to playing it by myself.
I am too. And see, I didn't know that about the choices, by the way. I thought that was an option that you could turn on or off. I didn't realize that was the default. But that's basically what I've been playing.
Can you give me? I'm not super familiar with The Quarry. Can you give me like some of the setting?
You are camp counselors that arrive.
Oh, it's just another like Friday the 13th.
Yep.
Maybe. Yeah. I mean,
Okay,
we didn't
cool.
get that far in.
Well,
but yeah.
Not the game. It's not gameplay like that, but it's
like the movie, right? The
yes,
story,
right.
general story. Okay,
correct.
Right.
Cool, great. You know, tangent. Why isn't it not like in a? You can correct me if I'm wrong. Why is it not like an actual quarry? Like you're just like a stone getter, like you're just with a hammer and a chisel, and it's just like Surgeon Simulator.
Quarry simulator.
Or like the horror in the mines or something.
Right. Or in a mine, right? And like you're going into a mine, into a quarry, right? It's just, you know what?
Right.
Nothing scarier than teenagers by themselves at a camp next to a lake. I imagine there's a lake. There's a lake.
Oh, I think
don't
so.
know.
We haven't gotten that far. We
Okay.
literally
I'm just going to say that there's a lake. I don't care.
did the opening. We got through the first little part and pretty much stopped there.
Yeah.
So
Really,
it was just
I
kind of
would
a test stream, and I've been dying to play this game with Paul, and I thought,
Mhm.
what better way than to do it on live stream where everyone can watch?
Right.
Because Paul's not going to play a horror game on his own.
No.
So
not.
he'll sit here and he'll play it with me, and it wasn't good.
No.
That's
Not
like
co-op.
almost. It sounds like it's almost worse than like holding the flashlight for your dad when he's working on something. It's like, oh, you helped your dad. I mean, only in the very loosest sense did I help, right? And very, it sounds like Paul barely played the game, or at least to
You didn't
that
even
level.
hold the flashlight. You propped up against something and you walked away.
Wow,
That's what this was.
No, I
That's
worked
worse.
on the truck and you walked away with the flashlight.
Yeah.
That's bad. Okay, so I guess I can mention what I have been playing. So, you guys, I'll have you know, I've gotten into speed running a little bit.
Ooh.
I don't like where this is going.
Yeah, and as far as speed running, I speed ran a country in like 3 days and then returned, and I did not play anything. So,
That's not where I thought this was going.
yeah. See. Wait, where did you think it was going?
Continue.
Oh, okay. I was just curious where you thought it was going. No. That's it. That's my thing. I'm a bad host for a gaming or nerd related podcast. The only thing I was able to do on the flight, actually, I wasn't even able to do this on the flight. I paid for the fucking internet, and I couldn't play Magic. And I was like, all right, great, thank you. 11 hours of nothing. But in some horrible overnight stays that I stayed in airports and I played Magic. So Magic Arena, that's cool. Card was banned recently. The Meat Hook Massacre, that makes the archetypes that I play much better.
Moment of
yeah,
silence.
Paul's sad. Oh, what was that, Paul?
I said moment of silence for my baby. They killed my Meat Hook.
Yeah, 3 seconds.
Thank you.
And there we have it. It's dead. So apart from that, I haven't really been playing much. There are a whole bunch of games on the horizon that I'm interested in playing, like that Ghostbusters one, for instance. Love the movies. Even the new one, too. I thought, like, that new reboot, I know this is a tangent, but that new reboot I watched on a plane and it was pretty good. And I typically don't like horror games that much either. So this might get me into it if it's a polished enough version. So
hold on. I wouldn't call this a horror game by any means.
What?
Yeah, I wouldn't call
Ghostbusters
horror either.
No. I meant like the other types of that game are more horror, right?
Oh yeah,
sure.
Like
yeah, that's what I meant. Sorry. Yeah, like Dead by Daylight and those ones. So like I might be able to get into this like more fun-loving one. But also like the Quarry. Maybe we can stream again and I can hop in and our votes matter, Paul. You know?
No.
Yeah.
Post
Alex
matter.
is the electoral college to our regular citizen.
Well, yeah, but it breaks ties, right? So if we vote together, we win.
Bullshit.
That's right. Yeah.
These are the means of game choices.
Yeah, no, we definitely need to do that. Maybe we'll schedule a day towards the end of this month to go ahead and do that. So, but yeah, that's all I've been playing. Traveled, went to the Czech Republic for a bit. That was great time. The dollar is strong, and then played Magic Arena in airports while waiting for flights, which is pain. But yeah, that's new with me.
Sounds good. All right. Well, we have a new segment that we're gonna try out here called the Junk Drawer. So the idea for the junk drawer is it's just going to be a random compilation of anything that we have to talk about that doesn't really fit into the topic, but it fits into relevancy of what's happened over the week. Just kind of cleaning out a junk drawer, things that we've wanted to talk about, short little tangents for a while. So yeah, well, let's clean out the junk drawer for the day.
Clean it out.
Clean it out.
Drain that swamp.
Well,
we're not keeping any liquids in this junk drawer. It's like one in the kitchen with like extra pens and shit.
Extra. So, everyone needs one of those.
Yeah,
that's true. Real. Yeah, and then you never know. But explain to me why it's filled with pens, but all of them are dead. I mean, I guess like a lot of these ideas, like they're all ideas, but they're dead in the water, and that's why they belong in this segment because they're not long enough to warrant any time, really. But they're still maybe worth mentioning.
That's exactly. That's a good comparison between the two. My junk drawer items for the day. So CD Projekt Red announced some stuff. I don't know if you guys have been watching, but I think there was a video as well, but I'm familiar with the Twitter post that came out probably 2 weeks ago now. They announced, so obviously, I don't know if you guys have watched it, Cyberpunk, what is it? Speedrunners?
Edge Runners. Yeah.
Thank you.
I watched the first episode. Or like the first episode.
Is it good?
I want to.
So here's the thing. Again, I was on a flight watching stuff, and I was like, perfect time for me to sit down and watch this. It's an anime, and I wasn't ready for that, and I wanted something in English, and so I watched Arcane instead, and I have notes on that. But I'll let you finish this first.
Okay. So I've heard that it's really good, and I heard that it was a much needed win for CD Projekt Red since kind of the failed release of Cyberpunk, right?
Yeah, it was a mess.
It felt kind of half built, a ton of glitches, didn't work on last gen systems very well. They've polished it up a lot, I guess. So
it didn't work on current gen systems that well either. Actually, the only thing that kind of worked was PC, and that was gracious. Like that kind of is a benefit to them.
Yeah, but it really didn't work on last gen. Like I feel bad bought it on last gen and expected to play a game. So the story was okay, right? You guys know that I was very hesitant to play this game.
Right.
And I ended up playing it, and I 100%ed it. I did all the storylines, like all the alternate endings. I did everything that this game had to offer.
Right. That was great for me because I went through my playthrough and then I could just sit on the couch and watch you do all of it and like eat popcorn. I was like, hell yeah, this is the best of both worlds for me.
Yeah. So they announced the DLC, the expansion, Phantom Liberty, which seems cool. I don't know anything else about it other than it was announced. I think it's slated for 2023 sometime.
I know that it's also free, right?
I don't know.
The only thing I heard about it is they started to announce some of the voice actors from it, I think. Or that might be the sequel. I'm not totally sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that they made the DLC free as like a, hey, please play this and, play our future game sort of stuff.
That sounds familiar in something that they talked about doing, but looking kind of here at some of the pictures on Twitter, it doesn't say anything. It just talks about it. It's in the final production phase. That's about it. They also
I'm just gonna say it's free or your money back.
They also announced a sequel. Cyberpunk, they're calling it Project Orion. And that's really all I know about it. It's a sequel to Cyberpunk 2077. As if Cyberpunk didn't do bad enough in the beginning. There are some games that only get one and then they get cut after that. And I'm like, damn, I really wanted a sequel to this game. Cyberpunk should have been one of the ones that got cut. But it's getting a sequel. I don't know how I feel about that.
I wonder if it's actually going to be like one of those prequels where you're playing like Johnny. What is it? Johnny
Silverhand, and I doubt it.
Silverhand. Okay, thank you.
Like they would have to replace Keanu Reeves because I doubt he'd want to do that again.
Ooh, and he was so flat in that. Like a hot take, maybe, but he was probably one of the worst parts of that game.
Yeah.
Like, and I think I know why. Honestly,
please.
So he's obviously a great actor, right?
Mhm.
But that's
I
the
don't know
thing.
about that anymore.
Okay, but no, listen. So I think the thing is he usually plays like, chill people or like the strong silent type, right? And in this, like he kind of had to play a pseudo bad guy kind of thing. And I
Mhm.
just don't think that works for him, you know?
That's not
Mm-mm.
his role. No.
No, because
So
even when he's like a badass, he's like relatively stoic. And this, like
Right.
Johnny
Strong
Silverhand,
silent
needed
type.
to be like on the edge, kind of maniac sort of dude. But yeah, Keanu Reeves did not get there with it.
Yeah. Loud and in your face. And I don't think he's got that in him. It's just not who he
No,
is.
I agree.
so I think what happened is they knew the game wasn't going to do too great because
Mhm.
this thing had apparently been in the works for years.
Oh yeah, something like 10 years, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think bringing him in as the voice actor, they probably scrapped what they had before, and they said we just need something to sell this because Keanu
Mhm.
Reeves sold it.
Yeah.
The fact
100%.
that it's CD Projekt Red and The Witcher is a
Mhm.
beloved series, and the fact that Keanu Reeves was there, that's what sold this game. So all
Right.
I'm reading on Project Orion on their slide deck on Twitter just says that it's a sequel that will prove the full power and potential of the Cyberpunk universe. It sounds
Mm.
like they it sounds like they really had a plan for Cyberpunk and what it was supposed to be, but they just didn't. And listen, this was December, right? Was it or was it
Yeah.
November?
No, I
It was
think it was
December.
December, yeah.
It
This
was
was
December,
December,
100%. Yeah.
December of 2020.
Hmm.
The new consoles just released.
Yep.
There were still players on old console play, and still to this day, players on old console, players on the next gen.
Yeah.
And it's very hard from a developer's perspective to be able to create a game for old gen, for last gen and next gen. It's very difficult because you
Mhm.
have all this potential with the new gen consoles, all this horsepower, all these new bells and whistles, but then you
Mhm.
also have to tone it down and back to last gen as well. It's very
Mhm.
difficult. So I will give them the benefit of the doubt there. It sounds like they really want to showcase what they had in store originally for Cyberpunk 2077, and that's what they're doing here. And they're trying to win back that fan base. And it might work. I hope it does.
And
I mean, I'll probably play it, but
I'm going to play it, let's be real. But I do think it's interesting that like you bring that up, right? All the horsepower not being utilized and stuff. Cause the thing that I want to throw out of the junk drawer is something I am excited for, but now I'm scared, and that's Gotham Knights.
mhm.
I love the Batman games, but they just announced on Twitter that not only is the last gen version scrapped, they're not doing it anymore. For current gen consoles, they're locking it to 30 frames a second, and they're like, we don't have a performance mode
Mm.
or like a quality mode. Like it's been what 2 years since the consoles came out, give or take,
Mm-hmm.
and they still can't nail this stuff. Like, what's going on? Like,
Do you know, is it the same developers that did the Arkham series?
yeah, Rocksteady, yeah.
Okay.
Mm. That's good at least.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still excited, but it's like, yo, what are you guys doing?
Yeah, I have
Did,
no idea. Yeah.
did you guys just not work on, the new consoles when they came out? Like, I know people have been having a hard time getting them. Could they
Who
not
owns
get
it?
dev kits out?
Is this one of the Microsoft owns or
It's
no?
WB Games, I believe.
The
They
Warner
own
Brothers, yeah.
Rocksteady. Yeah.
Oh, I see. I see. That might be the issue too. And they might not had like enough dev kits to work off of, um, like on their end to be able to optimize it correctly. And I mean, I think realistically, optimization is like the last step, right? Like the building the game is like the bulk of it, and then optimization is maybe that last like 30% or like last 20% in the process, while getting ready to ship. So it doesn't really surprise me, especially with the demographic. I mean, it's sad to hear because a lot of people played the series on like the Xbox 360, right? Everybody had an Xbox 360 and like the Arkham Knight games. Everybody, I mean, well loved, well
And the
loved. So
remasters. Yeah.
Yeah, and the remaster. So I don't know. I mean, it's just more disappointing shit, different day, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still excited, but not scared.
The only thing I know about the game
Mhm.
is they were giving out early access to certain like streamers and YouTubers. The only thing I know is I saw somebody streaming the fight between, I think they were playing as Batgirl
Yeah.
or Robin, I don't remember, and
Mhm.
Harley Quinn.
Yep. I knew that was coming.
You knew.
Yeah. And just so it's out in the open, Alex loves Harley Quinn, and he would leave the lady he lives with and everyone in his life if
Hands
she
down.
were real.
Hands down.
Sir,
Yeah.
the world loves Harley Quinn. How dare you?
Yeah,
Thank you.
but Alex's love is different.
Oh, I know.
I'm
funny.
excited to see it. I don't know if I'm going to buy it, play it day one, but I'm excited to
Right.
see more on it and the potential that it has.
Same.
But I'm going to go ahead and close the junk drawer for today.
We'll save
And
mine for next time.
we'll save yours for next time. And I am going to bring up the main topic for today, which is, what do you lose by not playing on hard mode? Paul, since you introduced the topic, why don't you go ahead and kick us off? What do you have
Okay,
to say about it?
I have a lot to say about this, actually. And just a bit of backstory. It started because I was playing the game that shall not be mentioned.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yes. Um,
Full of hell, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the podcast.
and here's the thing. I just wanted to experience the story. So I was like, you know what? I don't care right now. I'm just going to put it on story mode, which is, like that's what they call their easy mode, because I just want to experience it. And I mentioned that to you, Alex, and you started like, I mean, not hardcore, but you were like, dude, don't do that. You're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I don't think you are by playing a game on easy mode. So what do you guys think?
I say it depends on the game, right? I'm a big From Software fan, and there is only hard and harder in those.
Right.
And the games that I typically like reward you for learning the mechanics of the game, right? They don't let you necessarily usually have like an easy mode. Like Dark Souls, for instance, I'll just use that, or Elden Ring, I guess. Really, like the information that you get is what makes the game easier, right? Knowing what works against enemies, how enemies interact, recognizing patterns of bosses, those things. I mean, and acquiring the correct items, finding out what they're like weak to. I find that way more rewarding instead of just saying, hey, you know what? This boss kind of sucks. Let me go pause and knock this difficulty down 3 bars so I can just one shot it. For me personally, I think that there is merit in like a basically like cinematic mode for any game. I think that's probably a better argument for some of the like PlayStation exclusives recently. That they really focus on like a single player story narrative, and games that are very narrative heavy. I think that's fine.
Okay. And I honestly think that, and you touched on it a bit. Like for me, I get really busy, right, with a bunch of things, whether it's school, work, or other obligations.
Mhm.
That oftentimes I will have to put a game down for, quite frankly, who knows how long. And while I can understand the merits of, like you said, learning the mechanics and whatnot, and really understanding the game, I feel like, especially if you get really busy, some people only have, an hour or maybe two a week to sit and play. And I feel like if a game kind of gets to the thing, especially like we're seeing now, where it's like, hey, grind out more stuff to get this better gear or whatnot. It's like, I don't have the time to do that, so I'm just not going to play the game at all. Like, I understand that you may lose something, but I feel like without in easy mode, there's some games that people won't play at all, and then they miss out on it entirely.
I don't think that's true. So I mean, I think some legitimate portions of what you said there is that, like, hey, if the game's too hard, takes me too long to learn how to play it, I don't have enough time, I'm not going to be able to complete it, or I'm not going to be able to play it at all, right? I think that's a valid enough point. But I think that, I'll push back on you and say maybe like pushing past like the frustration and finally being able to do it. For instance, Alex, Pokemon, when you're like 6 and you get to the Elite Four and you just have a Blastoise that you're trying to run through every single team member, right? Like, you eventually learn that that's not the strategy, right? That you have to have at least 2 or 3 like decent Pokemon, and like you have to learn like the strategy back behind the game, and you can't brute force it, right? And I would say that that's way more rewarding than saying like, all right, Elite Four, you each only have 1 Pokemon now, and my Blastoise can shoot through all of you.
I stopped playing Pokemon Blue version.
Okay.
So first of all,
I also had Blue version. That's version.
I had Venusaur.
Okay.
Venusaur's
Worst Pokemon. Yeah.
That's debatable. There's a reason that Bulbasaur's number 1. So I had
Because
Venusaur
alphabetically first. That's the only reason.
That's not true.
Yeah, B, Bulbasaur. Charmander, C, Squirtle, S.
Does it go that way?
That's what I'm going to say right now. I have no idea, but that's what I'm going to stick to. Also, you would have to look up what like the thing is in Japanese, because I don't think they did it for like the English alphabet. But anyway, continue. Venusaur.
Oh, Charmander is number 4. Okay, all right, I'll give you that. I never knew that.
I don't think that's true. I'm just going to say I'm just committing to that because it was convenient for me. But
I like it. That's canon. So I stopped playing Pokemon Blue when I went to school one day, and they said, "Hey, do you know the missing known hack? The trick."
Oh, the Missingo?
Missingo? I always called it missing known.
Okay.
I don't know. But where you would, what would you do? It was like your 7th item in your inventory. You had to go to the old man in Viridian City.
Yep.
You had to
show do something with the ship too. No, I'm sorry, that was from you too. Or that was from you.
Mew was supposedly there. I think that was debunked.
Yeah, he was like under a box, but yeah, you're right. It was debunked. Continue. Sorry.
So you talk to the old man. He asks you if he wants to show you, if you want him to show you how to catch a Pokemon. You say yes. You do that, and then you fly to Cinnabar Island, and then you surf up and down the right side of the coast, and you see the missing known. And if you catch it, it supposedly should break your game. I caught it a couple times. Maybe I got lucky. I don't think it ever broke my game. But it's supposed to duplicate your item in your 7th slot. 7th slot, I think. This sounds kind of familiar.
Mm-hmm.
So you put a rare candy in there, right? Gives you an instant 1 level. And then you just 99 all your Pokemon. After I found out that hack, that trick, that glitch, whatever you want to call it, I stopped playing Pokemon Blue.
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't fun anymore. It wasn't a challenge anymore. Because I beat the Elite Four. Yeah, sure, I was stuck on the Elite Four. But I beat the Elite Four. And I was like, okay, what now? And there was nothing else. I was like, okay, cool. I'll wait for the next game to come out. Whatever next Pokemon. It was Silver that came out. But, however long it took for that to come out.
Right.
I think... So, I was playing Resident Evil 8, right?
Mm-hmm.
Village.
Ooh, the foreshadowing, yeah.
The foreshadowing. So, I put it on normal difficulty. If there's an achievement for it, I like to try a game on hard mode.
Mm-hmm.
If I know that I can do it. Call of Duty veteran mode, I know I've beaten it, plenty of times on veteran mode. I could probably do
Never would I ever do that. I found no reward in doing that, but yeah.
Good
for you.
It's the achievement for me. That's it, right?
Yep,
that.
Achievement hunter.
There is such thing as too hard and too difficult, but I'll get into that after. So Resident Evil 8 Village. Sorry. Resident Evil 8 Village. I got stuck literally in the first little area. I was on normal mode too. I got stuck. There's a ton of these zombie werewolf things that are, attacking you. And I got stuck because there's like 8 of them, and it's a Resident Evil game. You don't have that many bullets. I think you're supposed to run, but I couldn't figure it out. I died 4, 5, 6 times. I finally said, fuck this. I'm just going to put it down. Now, in that scenario, I do want to play the game, but normal mode was too difficult for me.
Mhm.
At a later point, after I beat it on easy, will I try to go through on a harder difficulty? Maybe. I have done that before, right?
Mhm.
Where I've beaten Call of Duty on, normal mode the first time that I played a Call of Duty, and I said, I could probably use more of a challenge, and I played it on hardened and then veteran mode.
Right.
But I don't think you lose much on easy difficulty. It was brought to my attention that if you play The Witcher on easy, it loses all of its mechanics, such as finding the right weapon, the right food, the right.
Oh my God. And that, I will say, is one of the most rewarding experiences, is that they have a book about like all the monsters that you encounter, in like a wraith, for instance, and that you have to use a correct like signa on the ground that like makes a little circle that you can
the
hit them when they
purple one.
come through. Oh my
Yeah.
God. That game
they
probably
wouldn't
has the best
materialize.
implementation of it. What was that, Paul?
No, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about because that is a game. I guess for reference, I should have said I tend to play most of my games on easy. Because I value more of, I guess, the story than the struggle. But that is a game that I did play on either normal or like a little harder. But I would argue there that they gave you enough resources to do it.
Yeah, and I think that implementation is good. And I think, kind of back to Alex's point about, Resident Evil, it's why is the game difficult? Like I said, I would never play like a Call of Duty campaign on veteran, because I just think that they scale the enemy to make it so they're a bullet sponge and they can kill you in one shot, right? And so the increase in difficulty isn't really fun because there's zero strategy in it. And there's like really not a rewarding way for the player to like learn from it. It's just the enemies are harder, right? It's not that the encounter is like different, it's just that they're harder. I think, what was the like EA Star Wars game that came out not too long ago? It was like kind of a From
Fallen
Software
Order,
game. Huh?
right?
Battlefront?
No,
Not
Fallen
Battlefront.
Order?
I think it was the Fallen Order. You can play as like the Jedi.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
right.
Okay.
Yeah, Jedi the Fallen Order, yeah.
I will say that game did a lot of things right, borrowed a lot from the From Software games, but the last fucking fight that you have to do,
difficulty curve.
oh my God. I wasn't even playing on hard or difficult. I was just playing on normal mode, okay?
Yeah.
That is the closest I have ever been to dropping the difficulty. Like, that took me probably 3 or 4 hours. And I think later they patched it to make that fight easier. But I'm not saying you don't have a legitimate argument, but I am saying I felt so good when I actually was able to kill that bitch at the end there. It was very rewarding. Was it worth the 3 hours I spent? Oh, no, it wasn't. But my pride will tell me yes every time, okay?
And that's the difference. That's exactly what I was telling Paul. If you get stuck 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, and you say, fuck it, I'm going to lower the difficulty just to get through the game, I think you're losing out on a lot. You're not losing out on any story. You're not losing out on usually any rewards unless you're an achievement whore like me. But what you are losing out on is one of the joys and the satisfactions of playing a game is it needs to be difficult. It needs to be, you don't play those little, do you guys remember the little VTech games for like 3-year-olds, 4-year-olds, right? Leapfrog, or it wasn't Leapfrog. It was, I think Leapfrog was like the platform that one of them came on.
Are you talking about like the Jumpstart games and stuff
Those
like that?
ones.
Yeah.
Do you still play those?
Okay.
Do you still play those?
I still play
No,
them?
anyone.
No.
Anyone.
No,
I'm not asking you.
no.
I'm not calling you out specifically, Paul.
No.
Anyone. No.
Paul, when's the last time you've played one, huh?
Why though? Because they're not challenging. They're not challenging. And I think if a game is too easy, it's not fun. I think a game needs to present you with a little bit of a challenge. I do think the story is great, right? And I respect that Paul wants to just experience the story rather than beat his head on a wall And that's why he doesn't play the Dark Souls, right? Any of the Souls games. But I think that in order to have fun with a game, nobody wants to feel like a god in a game unless you've earned it. You've unlocked everything and you have the best armor in the game. It's fun to go around and one-shot things only because you remember the struggle when you where you died over and over and over. It's fun to go back to that boss, hit him 3 times and watch him go down when he used to do that to you.
Yeah, nothing is more rewarding than going back to an earlier area in like an RPG and be like, "You remember me, you stupid fucking chicken?" And then like killing him in one hit or something. It's like something that you were terrified of because he had no armor and like a wooden sword, and then you're like, "Oh no, not a zombie." Yeah.
See, I don't know, because as I said, I do think the story is more important, at least for me, than the sense of accomplishment.
Then why play it?
But
Why not watch someone else play it?
because I still get I still get to be an active and involver, like an active participant in doing it, and I can make my own choices, and do the things that I want to do. But I will say, after kind of hearing what you guys have to say, uh, because I will admit, after that conversation, I did feel bad. I was like, I don't know, maybe you have a point. And I bumped it back up to normal. Um, I'm thinking maybe part of the big issue is like for open world games, like Assassin's Creed or some of the other UB stuff, they're they're making it harder on purpose to like maybe get you to buy some microtransactions or just to inflate the playtime. Be like, oh yeah, they play our it has 80 hours of content or whatever, but like that's not real because it's really a 60-hour game. You just made stuff way harder to add artificial time or spend money.
Oh,
But
for sure. Like I think there are plenty of games that do that where like, okay, I have to hit this boss 1,000 times. Okay, cool. Great. This is a great game mechanic. I guess we're gonna lean into the Assassin's Creed podcast part here, aren't we?
The
What
10th circle of hell, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the podcast.
it
Okay,
is
Alex,
spooky season. This is your spook.
I really hate this. What kind of microtransactions are even available? Like, is there anything that
There's not that many. So first of all, if you connect through your Ubisoft rewards account, right?
Not a
You
sponsor.
you can unlock a lot of these gems. You can do missions to get these opals is what they are. You can do missions to get more opals. And yes, you can use the opals to buy stuff, but it's
like level locked, isn't it? Because it's like an RPG.
no, they're not level locked, but if you don't have the materials to upgrade them, from what I've seen, a lot of the weapons do a lot of the same amounts of damage, right? So there's no benefit in unless you go get a legendary weapon, right? There's no real benefit in that I felt from purchasing a weapon using microtransactions. You can't buy power levels. You can't buy experience boosts. You just have to. What the game does is it encourages you to go do some of the side quests. Are there too many? Yes. Are some of them absolutely ridiculously irrelevant? Yes. There was one that I did where all I had to do was pick up arrows from a throne because that's where the king had gotten shot to death. And a lady yelled at me and offered to buy the arrows from me. And that was the end of the quest. And I got 1,200 XP for doing that. Took 30 seconds of my life. That absolutely does nothing to progress the story. It doesn't really help with the lore, I feel. But the experience is out there. It does encourage you to play more of the game and not just rush through the story. You should kind of in any RPG, you should naturally progress up by doing side missions, and they just don't have side missions the same way that you would typically see in an RPG. by doing side missions, by doing the main story, you should naturally progress up and get your power levels up. And if you do that and you learn the mechanics, because by the way, I was killing things that were 150 power levels above me just by being really good at the mechanics, just by timing my dodges, rolling around like crazy, and getting ridiculously good with the bow and arrow.
Now, would you say so? Microtransactions really don't help increase the power level of the character. Then is what I'm hearing.
No, because the power level isn't based on your gear. I think, if I remember right, I didn't play much of it. I think Assassin's Creed Origins and maybe Odyssey, your power level increased with the different gear that you got.
Okay.
I could be wrong.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Also sold a permanent double XP boost, by the way, in the shop for those games.
Oh, okay, but not Valhalla.
Not that I saw.
Okay, so, and then my final question here, Your Honor, is going to be, Alex, do you feel like the difficulty curve is a little bit higher to milk for time? Like in interactions, like are enemies spongier, or they're like too many? Because usually that's what a game will do, right? It's like, oh shit, I don't know what to do here. I'm just going to keep throwing away. Like, I'm going to call this the Destiny syndrome. And like, it was like Destiny 1 was very bad about this, where like the story mode was just, hey, go over here, do this thing. And you got to wait by it and protect it. And then you kill like 5 hordes of enemies. And then, okay, travel across the map. And then sit here and, oh, hold on, I got to do something. Kill hordes of enemies. And the progression was the enemies getting spongier and spongier, right? And throwing more at you. And it didn't make the game like more interesting, really. Right? They were just kind of padding for time in those like interactions. Is it kind of the same?
Yes and no. So first, I will correct what I just said. In Assassin's Creed Origin, leveling up, it looks like allows you to carry stronger weapons. But that still goes to the point of your power level and the weapons that you could wield was directly, like there was a direct relation between them. Here, there's not. You could pick up anything from the first day and run around with it.
Oh, I see.
As for throwing, you said if they throw additional things in there to kind of not unfairly, if they throw additional things in there and make the power levels, if it's like, hey, if all of this side stuff wasn't in there, typically power level to do this would be 50, but because there's some side stuff in there that we want you to do, the power level's now 100. Recommended, right? They probably do that, but they spent a lot of time making this game, right? They spent a lot of hours putting stuff in here, and most players will play through the story and that's it. Most Call of Duty players will rip open the case, throw the disc in their console.
Yeah, not even that anymore. Just download it.
Not even that anymore. Download the game, right? And the first thing they do is they spin up multiplayer.
Right.
And that's why, what was it, Black Ops 4 didn't have a campaign. Because it just didn't make sense. They didn't care to do it.
Now, so I don't want to get too far off track, so
this is a way for
back
the developers, real quick. This is a way for the developers to push you to play their content.
Right.
I feel. But
I get that. And I just want to follow up with, Paul, what do you think makes the game difficult? I think that's an important thing to address.
For me, and maybe it goes back to kind of the core ones and the older ones, it was never based around like gear and whatnot. What gear did you have? It was literally, here's the mechanics, and you can defeat anything if you plan right. And
yeah, they definitely leaned into more RPG.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is because I am older. Reactions have slowed and things, but I just don't feel like that's how it is anymore. But I still think the story is neat, and I'd like to play them, and get that story, and that's kind of how it is for me. I think in most games where, especially if I get involved in it, I'm talking 5-10 hours into a game, and I'm like, yo, I've really hit a brick wall, but I want to keep going because I'd rather get through it and to say like, hey, I did do it, and I saw the ending, then be like, oh yeah, I got stuck on it, and then put it down and never pick it up again.
If you hit a brick wall, then yes. And you've legitimately tried. You hit a brick wall, you can lower the difficulty. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that. But I don't think putting it on the easy mode just to get the story so that you don't have to deal with anything else is the correct solution. Playing it on easy mode, when you're fully capable of playing it on normal or hard mode, you have the skills, you have the ability. Playing it on easy mode is a disservice to yourself and to the game developers because you rip through the game very quickly. You don't get to enjoy it for as long as you normally would, and you don't get the satisfaction of winning those hard boss fights, right? And I think that's what a lot of the gaming moments are about. At least for me, I really enjoy when I've been stuck on something and I kind of step away and I go back. I'm like, you know what? Let me just try it one more time. And that one more time is what it took. Or I see, hey, this guy is really kicking my ass. Let me come back to it. Let me go do a couple things and I'll come back to it. Or I notice that he's really up in my face. Let me see if I can back away and shoot some arrows at him. How much damage does that do? I like trying different things. And I think that's what I mean when I say that you're doing yourself a disservice when you're not playing on a harder difficulty, when you're playing on a difficulty that is less than your skill ability.
And I think really to your point there, they might be telling you, hey, don't go in this area yet, and you're trying to brute force it, and you're able to brute force it in easier difficulty, or they're like, hey, maybe you want to try a different strategy here, and you can brute force it because it's easy mode. I think we saw part of that, and when we played Tiny Tina's Wonderlands together, toward the end of the game, our power creep was so high that we wouldn't even see phases of bosses. Right, because we would kill them long before then. But again, I think that's like a game balance issue because we couldn't really do anything there. But I do have one game, Paul, that I will say you should never play on hard mode, and I'll always allow anyone ever to play on easy mode.
Okay.
You guys want to try to guess?
I don't like where this is going.
Right.
No clue.
No. Okay. It's an old game. You might have played it on your grandmother's computer. Minesweeper.
I love Minesweeper.
Have you ever tried to beat it, though?
Yeah, I have. I was actually really good at Minesweeper. So the first few, there are a few times where it's like just random guesses, and there's a chance that you could just fail just because. But if I got pretty good at Minesweeper, I love it.
The hard mode is hard. Like,
oh yeah,
anybody can do that. You can do anything, literally. And Minesweeper on easy mode all day.
Fair enough. But I will say, I think you guys have given me a lot to think on and think about, and I'm going to try and readjust my strategies from now on when I play games.
Yeah, get good. Yep.
So the lesson of today is Paul is a little bitch because he won't play it on the hard mode. He just plays it on easy story mode. And that's the podcast. That's it for today, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Round Table. No matter what platform you're nerding out with us on, we appreciate the love and the support. If you happen to be here on YouTube with us, feel free to drop a comment if you agreed or disagreed with us on today's topic. And we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.
Bye.